Hey guys, welcome. I am so excited that I finally had the chance to sit down and film this video for you. Today we're going to be talking about plant prices. We are going into territory no one has gone before, at least not that I've seen. Now, I'm not talking about we're just going to generalize plant prices. I am actually going to be telling you how much I have literally spent on like my most expensive plants that I own. So, to be honest, I'm actually a little bit nervous getting into this and being this transparent with you all because I can kind of foresee one of two audiences who might end up watching this. You're either in the group of my personal family and friends, and you are going to hear how much I have spent on some of these plants, and you are going to think I have lost my mind, or you're going to think I'm super, super irresponsible because these are, like I said, my most expensive plants. Or you may be a fellow collector, and I worry that watching this video, you might start to think I'm just trying to show off or boast or be like, look at how much money I spent on this plant. And I promise you, I am not that kind of person. I promise you, I am not trying to do that here. I am not being like that. I do not want you to like watch this video and feel bad about your own collection or wish that you were able to have more expensive plants. I'm not trying to foster any sort of jealousy or anything like that. I'm just trying to genuinely talk to you about plant prices, about the market, about what makes a plant valuable. And at the end, I don't care which audience you're in, but please stick to the end because I'm actually going to give you my secret for how I can afford my expensive plants. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't have a job, and my husband does not buy any of my plants. So I'm going to tell you how I have been able to afford these. Stick to the end. But before we get started, a quick word from today's sponsor, me, because I wanted to show you my shirt. Check it out. Check it out. I illustrated and designed, it's like 24, I think 25 different ecotypes of Anthurium papillilaminum. If you didn't know that there's more than one, this is your public service announcement. There are so many different ecotypes of this plant, which I think we all love a good pappy. But I have here illustrated like, I guess the more common ones, the ones that are more well known and established and have been officially named. And I just wanted to talk to you about this shirt because I spent a lot of time working on it and I think it truly paid off. I am in love with this design. I love how it looks. It's also in a poster if you just don't want to wear it. I do have it available in a poster, but I just had to take a minute to tell you about this shirt because it is awesome and it is available for purchase. I don't have a website or anything. Just send me a DM on my Instagram and I will be more than happy to get you taken care of. So let's go ahead and get into our video. We're starting off with kind of like a game show thing is what I was thinking. Is that stupid? So bum 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 bum. We are going to be playing The Price is Right on some of my personal, most expensive plants that I own. Now, these are all going to be Anthurium. So what I did was I took a few clips of each of these plants last week and I posted it to my personal Instagram stories to see if my friends and family could guess how much I spent on each of these plants. The results were a lot of fun, and now I want to go ahead and take you through that. We're going to go ahead and start off. I'll show you a clip of a plant and you'll have a multiple choice option. I want you to take 5 seconds because if we do longer than that, this video is going to be way too long. Take 5 seconds, make a quick guess what you think I paid for this plant. Then I'm going to show you what my friends and family thought I paid for the plant, and then I'm going to tell you how much I actually did pay for the plant. So like I said, a little nervous because this is very like deep and personal into my spending habits. But we're going to do it because I think it'll be good for everybody. So starting off, we have my beautiful Anthurium Crystal Hope. All of these, except for maybe one or two, you may have seen in my 2023 Rare Plant Tour. So here's my Crystal Hope. Here's how she was looking as of last week. This is a gorgeous plant. I mean, look at that specimen. And she is having some berries ripening on that inflorescence. How much do you think I paid for this Anthurium Crystal Hope? Take about 5 seconds to guess. All right, you have made your guess. Here is what my friends and family thought. What do you think? Did they do good? Do you think they guessed correctly? So what I actually spent on this plant was $165. So if you guessed 165, congratulations, you are correct. If you didn't guess that, you either guessed lower and your mind is blown, or you guessed higher and you are relieved. A quick word though, as I'm getting into this and as I'm telling you specific dollar amounts that I paid for these plants, I do need to kind of provide a warning. Do not use this video as your only research if you are trying to buy one of these plants. Do not base the prices that I'm about to give you on how much you should spend if you're looking to buy the same plant. For example, the Crystal Hope I bought as a small baby. It was not in caterpillar stage. It had some damage on it. It has taken me a year to get to this point, and so 165 is not what I would expect to pay for it today. And that's going to be the same for a lot of these plants you're about to see. How much I paid for them does not reflect how much they're worth today. Some of them have gone up in value because the plants have gotten bigger. Some of them have gone down in value because the plants are just not as desirable. But we are going to get into more of that value talk a little later in the video. But I did just want to put that warning out there. Also, something else to consider, I'm filming this right now in 2023. I don't know what plant prices are going to look like in a year, in 2 years. And we would certainly all be totally broke if we were still paying 2020 prices for some of these plants. So just fair warning, as I get into this, please do not write these numbers down and then feel like you need to go out and find your plant at the exact same price, because I am not saying that that is what you should pay. I am saying that is what I paid. All right, next up, my stunning, my largest Anthurium, my Warraquinum crossed with Magnificum. Now, if you have heard me get that backwards, it's because I truly don't remember if this is Warrock by Mag or Mag by Warrock. I don't remember which way it is, but take 5 seconds to guess how much do you think I played for this? How much do you think I paid for this incredible specimen? All right, time is up. Here are the results. This is what my friends and family think that I paid for the plant. And the final answer, the true price I paid for this plant was $150. Good job. All right, let's go on to the next one. We have my Anthurium HU, or the King of Spades. Take a quick 5 seconds. What do you think I paid for this plant? All right, your time is up. This is what my friends and family thought. And I actually paid $150 for this plant, which is considerably low for what it's currently going at right now, but I did import this from Indonesia as a seedling. So I think I got a pretty good price. Next up, my Carla X BVEP. Oh my goodness, I actually have to stop what I'm doing right now, because the clip that you're watching is from last week and the emergent since. Okay, so hold on, let me go grab her. She's right in my greenhouse. Please look at this gorgeous, gorgeous emergent leaf. Gotta get it to focus on the plant and not on my face. I don't even know if the camera is doing justice. I wish it were. I'll put in a clip I took of her yesterday because the colors, everything, mwah. That has nothing to do with our game show. I just had to show you what she's looking like right now. So you have had about 5 seconds, but I'll go ahead and put that little clip back up. How much do you think I paid for my Carla X, whatever it is, BVEP? Take 5 seconds. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. All right, here's what my friends and family thought. And I actually spent on this guy $300. Okay, let's keep going. Next up, I have my Dark Form Tazula Ace of Spades, which this is about how she looks right now. She came in pretty rough. I will not give you any more information than that because my friends and family had no further information. How much do you think I paid for her? Guess. Really guess. Okay, your time is up. I paid $200, which I think is a steal. It's a small plant, it's damaged, it's gnarly, it's got some cold damage, but for what this plant is currently worth, and it's actually a double-headed. I don't know if you can tell. It's got 2 heads, 2 growth points. I'm very pleased that I spent $200 for this plant. Super exciting. Either your head is spinning because you are not a plant person and you are like, you did what? You spent how much? Or you're like, dang, that's a good price. All right, let's go ahead and move along. Here is my Papillilaminum A+. I actually have it on my shirt. Is it? It's this one right here. My A+ pap. And I got, sorry, no further information. I'm not telling you how she came in or how big or how small or how long ago. How much do you think I spent on this pappy? Okay, your time is up. I spent $350 on this. Oh, I forgot to tell you, this is how much my friends and family thought I spent on this plant. At the time, this was the most money I had ever paid for a plant. And just for fun, let me throw up a picture of what it looked like at $350 when I paid for it. Yeah. So, moving along, my Zara X Michelle. Here she is. She is gorgeous. Had some issues with her. I can't wait for her to glow up. She just really needs to glow up. It's a beautiful plant, and if you've seen this plant, you know how gorgeous she is. You should have had a few moments to go ahead and place your guess, and this is how much my friends and family thought that I paid for this plant. Yeah, and I actually spent $200 on this. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on. My Anthurium luxurians. This one, okay. Take your 5 seconds. And here's what my friends and family thought. This is hilarious to me because I don't blame them. They're not plant people. They don't understand. But I think they saw the yellowing around the edges and maybe they thought the plant was like just in really bad shape. I don't know what they were thinking, but this is what they thought. I actually paid $250 for this plant. It was like 50% off a year ago. The price on this has gone down so fast. It's insane. We're going to talk about that. Next up, okay, this one is a new addition to the family. This is Anthurium Bessiae True Form, not AFF. I don't really know what that means. Like, I don't know the exact Latin word, but whenever you see AFF, it means this is kind of like the true species, but it's not the true species, right? So what you're probably familiar with seeing is the Bessiae AFF. I have one myself, love it, great plant. This is Bessiae True Form. How much do you think I spent? Here's what my friends and family thought. And I spent on this plant $450. That currently takes the cake for the most money I have ever spent on a plant. Take a moment. I need to take a moment, but we're going to move on. Okay, next up, Anthurium crystallinum Fairchild. Take a few moments to look at her. Look how gorgeous she is. How much do you think I paid? Here is what my friends and family thought. And I actually spent $400 on this. This was my previous most expensive plant until I bought the Bessiae. So that's where we stand. I haven't tallied these up, by the way. I see all these numbers in front of me. I typed them out, wrote them down on a piece of paper. I haven't tallied it up. Do you think I should tally it up at the end? I'm really scared to do that, actually. Next one, my Dark Frigidii. I'm so in love with this plant. She is gorgeous. She is a stunner. Admire her, and then guess how much you think I spent. She actually has a new leaf on the way. I'm not sure if you can see that in this little clip, but she does as of today. And here's what my friends and family thought. Okay, and I spent $100 on her. Actually was pretty frugal. That is so far the lowest I have spent going through this list. Okay. Next up is my Pink Lemonade. This is a double-headed seedling. So cute. Look at her, and she's super lush. In love with her. How much do you think I spent? Okay, and here's what my friends and family thought. This one I spent Nothing. This one was free. I actually won a contest in a Facebook group. Super exciting, and I'm loving this plant, and I cannot wait to see how beautiful she becomes. Those of you who are curious how much she's worth, I actually don't know, but I got her for free. So $0 spent on the pink lemonade. You want to hear something sad? My latte has gotten cold because I've spent so much time talking and so little time sipping. Yeah, that's like lukewarm. I'm gonna have to microwave it. Okay, we are nearing the end. We have 4 more plants to go. Thank you for hanging on so far. Next up, my Anthurium crystallinum. All right, make your guess. Final guesses. And my friends and family thought I spent this much. Or maybe I have it here. I'm not sure yet. And I actually spent 50 bucks. So yeah, $50 for the crystallinum. All right, let's move on to the next one. Here is my beautiful clarinervum. Or is it clarinervium? I'm not sure. I don't know if there's supposed to be an I, clarinervium, or clarinervum. I could just look it up, but instead I have been wondering for like 6 months. Anyways, have you made your guesses yet? Put in your final guess into your mind. There's like nowhere to really put it in. You know this is not a real game show, right? You're just watching a video. I have no idea what your answer was. But here's what my friends and family thought. And on her, I spent $90. Cool thing, just gonna mention it now. I think that this clarinervium pollinated my other forgetii. I did not attempt pollination on my forgetii. I just kind of left it, but it was right beside the clary, and I do have a fan in my greenhouse, and it's been a while now, and the inflow has not died, and then I looked at it, and it's developing berries, which is ironic to me because I have tried several times on purpose to pollinate some of my plants, and so far no berries yet, except for the Crystal Hope. She is making berries. And I find it kind of hilarious that my forgetii got pollinated and I didn't even try. But I really think it might be the clary. Wouldn't that be pretty? A clary X forgetii? Or I think it's supposed to be forgetii X clary. Back to the game. We've got 2 more plants to go. Here is my Anthurium Queen of Hearts, which, once again, this is becoming a trend. Last time I filmed her for you, I caught spider mites on her. And again, last week, I was filming it again, caught spider mites on it. I don't know what's going on, but have you made your guesses? Okay. Now, my family and friends thought I spent, and I actually spent $200. Yeah. Final one, this is another Papillianum A+. Go ahead and place your guesses. How much do you think I spent on this plant? All right, my friends and family thought, and a lot of them were actually right. $0 spent on this plant because, as you may have guessed, it was a propagation off of the larger one you saw. So if you look at it that way, I spent nothing for that little baby because I had already paid for the mother plant. So that is all I have as far as our game. That is all I have as far as telling you how much I spent. I will tally it all up in a little bit, but I want to talk to you now about what in the world makes these plants cost that much. This is a question that I have received a lot from my family and friends, and either you are a family or friend and you're waiting for me to answer that, or you're a plant collector and your family and friends have been asking you the same exact thing and you're not really sure what to tell them. Let's talk about it, okay? Because I think it's really important for us to understand this in order to become responsible consumers. What makes a plant worth $450? It is a plant. It grows out in nature somewhere. Why in the world is it worth $450? Well, it is all because of supply and demand. That's it. There's no other magic. There is no other like special leaves. I had a person ask me once if my elbow was so expensive because it produced more oxygen, and I was like, what? And then I realized that some people have houseplants to purify their air. I have houseplants because they're beautiful. No, my elbow does not produce any more oxygen. It's literally more expensive because of supply and demand. Now, the Monstera albo is not a good example of this, and it really doesn't matter what plant I grab, but let me grab a plant and we're going to talk about this in plant terms. I'm going to grab this one because I have it right here. My Carla X BVEP, which I spent $300 on this. It really comes down to how much is a person willing to pay, all right? Now, I have no intention of selling this plant, but let's pretend I do want to sell it. And I purchased it for $300, and ever since it has given me a new leaf. I've converted it to leca, and I've got some outstanding root growth. So maybe I list it for sale at $325, and instantly I've got like 3 people commenting, or whatever platform you use to sell plants. I usually post them to Facebook groups. Automatically, I've got 3 people commenting that they want it, they're ready to buy it, they will Venmo me right now. And we're not talking about ethics here, we're just talking about market trends. I could have asked more. If I had 3 people instantly willing to pay $325, I could have probably asked $350. Now, maybe only one person would be willing to pay $350, but if one person was willing to pay $350, I can charge $350 and they can buy this plant for $350. It's not unethical, it is capitalism. I'm not saying that that's what you should do, but I'm saying as a seller, if you are a seller of plants, you obviously are trying to make money. You're trying to make a profit, especially if it is like your full-time job or like a part-time side hustle. You're not giving things out, you are trying to make money. And so if you have several people willing to buy your plant for $325, you can raise your price. This is where supply and demand comes into place, because I've got 3 people who want to buy this plant for $325, but I've only got one of these plants and they have 0 and they want this one. That is why supply and demand, that's why you're going to hear it so much. And it's not just about plants. And again, welcome if you are not a plant person, but you know me personally and you're watching this video to support me. I appreciate you. I understand that it might sound crazy that I spent $300 on this plant, but to be fair, some people spend $300 on a pair of shoes. Some people spend $300 on concert tickets. It's about what you value. It's about what you place value on. Because when it really comes down to it, if I were to hold up, let's pretend this paper towel is a $100 bill. If I were to hold up a $100 bill, what makes it worth $100? It's not the paper that it's printed on. It's not the ink that it's printed with. It's the fact that this $100 bill that I have right here, don't you see it? It represents a certain amount of gold, like in the United States Treasury, I think. Take it a step back. Who says gold has value? It's just like a ore that comes out of mountains, kind of like plants grow out in nature. Who says gold is valuable? We do. We just decided that one day. I don't know when it started, but we as people decided gold was valuable. We wanted it. There was a limited amount of it. So in order to get some gold, you had to give up a lot of sheep or whatever you had. So this is kind of how money works. This is how buying stuff works. And the same is true for plants. If I have a plant that is desirable, and there are a group of people who desire this plant and they want that plant, they are willing to pay for the plant. That is the only thing that gives these plants value. Keep that in mind when you are shopping around for plants as you are adding to your collection, because truthfully, nothing in this world holds any value. We're all going to die one day. We are going to take nothing with us. Your most treasured possessions, my engagement ring, is worth nothing other than the value I place on it. Same is true for plants. So if you are shopping for plants, if you are trying to be, cost effective, if you are like me, and I promise you, I really am a budget shopper. You might not think that when I tell you that I spent $300 for this plant, But really, for the most part, I'm a budget shopper. I don't like spending a lot of money. And if you're like me and you want a plant that is way too much money, let me give you an example. Monstera Burl Marx Flame. Beautiful plant. I would love to have one in my collection right now. But when I first saw them introduced to the market, they were like a couple $1,000s for like a cutting. And I do think this was like 2020 or 2021. Let's just say it was 2 years ago. In 2 years, Monstera Burl Marx Flame has gone from whatever crazy number that is to yesterday I saw a baby for like, I think it was $250 or $350. I could have bought it, but honestly, I'm going to keep waiting because I know Monstera Burl Marx Flame is going to keep going down in value. You see this happening with a lot of plants. Philodendron Spiritus Sancti. I remember when I first saw that Red Leaf Exotics had pollinated their spiritus and that they had a seed harvest, I told my husband about it because I was so excited that this plant, which was like, I don't know, I don't remember like approximate value was, and I was so like, this is awesome. It has now given seed, and this guy who's going to sell them obviously can still make a lot of money, but if he now has 1,000 Spiritus Sancti, the plant becomes less rare, supply goes up, so the price goes down. And if you, back to my point, if you're a budget shopper and if you're waiting, or if you're wanting a plant, keep waiting. I personally am not ready to spend $250 on a little baby Burl Marx Flame, which is kind of ironic because I spent $300 on this. I don't get that. If you're an Anthurium collector, you get it. It's like $300 on this one. Oh, absolutely. $300 on Monstera Mint cutting. Nah, I'll wait. So that's really what I wanted to say, talking about plants, talking about value, talking about prices and the market, supply and demand. Ultimately, it's the value that you place on it. And as a buyer, you have power. If you see a plant for sale, and now the context is important here. You can't just do this anywhere and expect to get away from it. But if you see a plant that is too expensive and is out of your budget, don't buy it. Don't. Do you know why? Because if enough of us look at an expensive plant and say, you know what, honestly, I can't afford that right now, and we don't buy it, eventually the seller is going to be like, oof, nobody is buying this plant. Let me reduce the price. Now, I'm not an enemy of the seller. I'm not an enemy of the buyer. I am neutral, and I'm just trying to be informative here. But if more people decide a plant is not worth its asking price, the asking price will drop. On the other hand, if you're a seller and a lot of people want your plant for its asking price, you can raise that price. I hope that has been able to clear something up for you. Whether you're a fellow plant collector getting into this and your mind is just kind of like blown with how much these plants cost, or maybe you're one of my friends or family members and you have no idea what I'm thinking, that's kind of it, you know. What is its value to you? That's all that matters. So that's about all I have for you today. As promised, I would like to give you my method. How do I buy these plants? Like I said, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't have a job. I don't really work. I have a few part-time things, but my husband doesn't give me money for plants. He doesn't buy me plants. We just had Mother's Day on Sunday. I asked for a plant. He said no. So how do I pay for these plants? Well, I'll tell you. It's actually my little secret, but there's really nothing secret about it. You start with one investment. I believe for me that was my Monstera Albo. It was like the first expensive plant I bought. Paid somewhere around $300 for 3 cuttings, maybe. Since then, I have been able to propagate and sell enough cuttings of that plant that I have now paid for it more than once. When I bought the plant, it was for $300, and then the first time I was ever able to sell a cutting or a propagation from it, I think I sold it for $200. And then a couple months later, I had another cutting available, sold that for $200. This is how I do it, and it's really not rocket science. It's really nothing novel. That was such bad grammar. I apologize, but that's how I do it. I call it, well, my husband likes to call it my self-sustaining hobby, because if I see a plant that I want, I have to sell something that I have in order to get the money for it. So I don't know if that blew your mind or if that was really underwhelming for you, but I'm telling you, try it. Because literally my whole greenhouse, I'm not saying I bought the whole greenhouse with my Monstera albo, because there were some occasions where like I got money for my birthday and I wanted to buy a plant. You know, that'll happen. But for the most part, I don't buy a plant unless I have money from selling plants, cuttings, propagations, and it's worked really well for me. I want to talk about that last plant that I showed you in our little game, my baby Papillilanimum. Like I said, I paid $350 for the plant when I bought it approximately a year ago. And then a month ago, I was able to sell the butt cut for $175. I need to write this down. This is how bad I am. And then the one that you just saw, I have already sold it for $200. So I have already made $375 off of a plant that I purchased for $350. Think about it. It's really cool. What other purchase literally grows? You know? You spend money on a plant, you wait a year, it has literally grown. Its value has literally grown in a quantifiable way. This plant now has one more leaf than it did when I purchased it. That's one more node. That's one more opportunity to sell a cutting. So that's how it's done. This was my chat about plants and plant prices. Let me know your thoughts. Was this groundbreaking stuff? I kind of think some of it was groundbreaking stuff just because I haven't really heard a lot of other people talk about this. Kind of seems taboo to like tell people how much you spent on your plants, but like I said, I think it's healthy for us. I think it's healthy for me personally to be transparent with a potentially very large audience with how much I've spent on plants, because it does kind of humble me and it does kind of scare me, and I haven't tallied this up. I will. I'll show you a number in a second. I'm gonna need to take a minute when I tally this up, and I think it's good for you to hear from someone else how much they have spent on plants, how they afford those plants, and what it is that makes those plants valuable in the first place. So thank you for watching. I would appreciate any feedback you have. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. I don't only produce plant content, but I sure do produce a lot of it. So subscribe if this is something you are interested in. Give this video a like if you appreciated it. That's gonna help other people see this video because of like algorithms and stuff. And other than that, that's all I have to say. I will see you in my next video. Bye.